We've had an absolutely fabulous Malaysian Grand Prix, full of tactical twists and turns. It's finished with a McLaren 1-2 victory for Fernando Alonso, but a brilliant second place for Britain's Lewis Hamilton. And in so many ways, what Lewis did this afternoon, Mark, he was the architect of everything that McLaren achieved.
100%, Steve. We spoke about it beforehand, that if McLaren got in front off the start, they could put a lot of pressure on Ferrari. They did exactly that. Lewis got in front, and he really did make the Ferraris have to work. Massa made several mistakes, and at the end of it we see a great result for McLaren and Mercedes. They're back, they're as strong as ever, and I think we've got a real good run in our hands now all season long with these guys.
Yes, he allowed Fernando Alonso to get away and effectively cruise to victory, but for Lewis Hamilton this was a far, far tougher examination than he got in Melbourne.
You know, it's a tougher examination, but he come through with flying colours yet again. And you almost feel, well, he's new on the block, but is he new on the block? He just looks so experienced, so mature. The guy is unreal at this point. I don't see any flaws in him whatsoever.
He was talking before the start about his concerns about what might happen at the first corner. He was, of course, brilliant at the first corner in Melbourne. This was sheer opportunism and bravery once again.
Well, it was opportunity, bravery. It was everything here, but look, he's just so calm about it. He just sticks himself down the inside. He's unfazed by the fact that there's a couple of Ferraris there. And he does what's needed of him as a team player and for the team. He gets in front of those two Ferraris and then dictates the pace and allows Alonso, his teammate, to go off in the distance.
And what about the manner in which he conducted himself over the next 10 laps or so, under so much pressure, first from Felipe Massa and then from Kimi Raikkonen? Terrific composure.
Exactly that. It is composure. He just sat there. He knew where Massa was at all times. Massa put an amount of pressure on what was unreal for several laps, time and time again. And I have to say, Massa's the experienced guy, the guy who really should be putting a number on Lewis Hamilton, and it never came off. He made several mistakes behind him. He actually went backward in terms of what was going on pressure-wise. Here, look, he goes in way too hot, loses it. Lewis is, okay, no problem, I'll just tuck up the inside of you again. All the time there, Massa trying, just pushing way over the top there. Doesn't bother Lewis one little bit. It's like he's been around for ages. It's unreal.
This is a fantastic day for McLaren, a 1-2, their first race victory since the end of 2005. Desperate day for Ferrari, though.
Not a good day for Ferrari. I think they're going to look back on this and analyse where they went wrong. I think, as I say, McLaren got the jump. They made them work overtime. Heat, tyres, everything went wrong.
A McLaren 1-2 then, and Kimi Raikkonen for Ferrari in third, and they're all talking to the press right now.
Fernando, a dream day for you, no doubt. You passed cars going into the first corner, looked in your mirrors, and there was Lewis behind you.
Yeah, it was, absolutely. I think, one of our chance to win the race was to be first after the first corner, and thanks to a very good start, thanks to the car, I was able to arrive side by side with Felipe into the first corner. I was in the inside part, so I managed to be first, and for sure to have my teammate second makes things easier for sure to open a gap.
And thereafter, from the outside, it looked to be a relatively easy race for you.
Well, it's always difficult here because I think the car keeps changing balance all through the stint. It's not the same with high fuel loads and new tires that low fuel loads and old tires. And over the weekend we never did more than 8 or 10 laps with the tires, so you are always a little bit concerned about how the tires will behave after 15 or 16 laps. So it's never easy, but for sure, to be never less than 7 or 8 seconds, for sure, you are much more relaxed.
We saw Ron Dennis out on the pit wall signalling you in for your first stop. Was there any lack of communication going on there?
Yes, I didn't understand, but from lap 10 to the first stop, I had no radio. So same as Kimi in Australia, and seems lucky thing to have in the race because to the first stop I was lucky that I saw the pit board, I saw the arrow, so I come to the pit with a little bit some doubts if the guys were there or not, and I think Ron was telling me that the radio was off. Obviously I knew already. But I think they adjust something in the pit stop, and then it works okay the rest of the race.
You were saying over the winter it might take a while to start winning races for the new team, but here you are, race 2, middle of the podium.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, and I think it's a wonderful surprise what we achieved in so short time. I think I remember first test in December, only one day, and then new car in January with launching the car in Valencia in the middle of January, and a lot of work has been done inside the team, a lot of effort from everybody to be ready for the first race, but we never expect to be that competitive. So, I think this is something that is difficult to believe, but we have to say big thanks to everybody.
Congratulations to you. Congratulations to your teammate, Lewis Hamilton. What a fantastic drive. Difficult to know where to start, Lewis, but let's talk about the first few laps, your defence with Felipe Massa behind you, and indeed the first corner.
Yes, that was the most difficult race I've ever had. I think to see two Ferraris behind you, two red blobs in the mirrors, it's knowing that they're slightly lighter than you and slightly quicker than you. It's very, very difficult to keep them behind. And Felipe had a couple of moves. I think he tried into turn 4 a couple of times, but fortunately I was able to trick him into outbraking himself and and get my car stopped. And it was very fortunate that I was able to cut across and get back in front of him, and to the point where he eventually went off. So I apologise for that, but at the end of the day we got the points, so it doesn't really matter. And then I had Kimi hunting me down for most of the race, and I just can't explain to you how tough it was. It's extremely hot in the cockpit, sweating a lot. I ran out of water, so halfway through the race I didn't have enough water, and so it was tricky. It was tricky, and it was getting hotter and hotter throughout the race. And the last stint, it would have been nice to be ahead, a bit further ahead of Kimi, but I had to keep pushing to the last lap, and that's what I did. I didn't make any mistakes. I think the team did a fantastic job this weekend preparing the car. They work extremely long hours, I think longer than most other teams. And also back to the factory, you've done a fantastic job. So, well done.
The brilliant Lewis Hamilton, and to the father comes the spoils. Anthony Hamilton with Lewis's trophy for second place. You were emotionally spent after what happened in Melbourne. What's your reaction to what you've seen today?
Same sort of thing, really. I just really have no words to express just how excited and proud I am of Lewis today.
Mark, your thoughts as well?
I've been sitting actually with Anthony during the race, and we've been watching it together, and I have to say he has a little bit of nerves, but he's very intense in understanding what's going on. What is the next step now for Lewis from you? I mean, third, second, next race, we're only a week away.
I really don't have an answer to that, because to be quite honest, I thought, coming into Formula 1, had we got 6th or 7th in our first race, that would have been great for us. Having got 3rd in Melbourne and 2nd here, it's just crazy. I'm frightened at what's going to happen next.
OK, we'll have more reactions, certainly from yourself and I'm sure from Lewis in the rest of our coverage during the course of this day. But it's been a brilliant performance in this Malaysian Grand Prix. Reminder of where you can see our further coverage from here at Sepang, certainly in our race rerun, which is at 3:40 this afternoon. Further highlights after midnight, repeated on ITV4 tomorrow. Looking further ahead, that vital night of Champions League football on Tuesday. We're at Manchester United against Roma. We're at Chelsea against Valencia. That's Champions League Tuesday. But for tomorrow's bank holiday, British Superbikes is back.
British Superbikes is back. Last season provided us with one of the closest championship finishes in years.
Kianari through underneath. Haslam is through. Olivier is off. Haslam has been bumped by Keo. Kianari is the champion.
Who will prevail from the class of 2007? Live coverage of the series begins at Brands Hatch at 4 p.m. Bank Holiday Monday on ITV4.
British Superbikes tomorrow. The next Formula One is the Bahrain Grand Prix next weekend at a rather more civilised viewing time from your point of view. What can Lewis Hamilton do there? But here in Sepang, another outstanding performances. 2 races in Lewis Hamilton's fledgling career and 2 podium finishes. And what a big part he's played in his teammate Fernando Alonso's victory in this Malaysian Grand Prix. Bye from the store.
For all the latest news and features, visit our F1 website.